finally ended, I was met with the startup of the show, with Dora and Boots standing next to Dora's home, staring at the screen ready to give their lines. "Hola, soy Dora," Dora said in her usual upbeat voice. "And I'm Boots," Boots said. "We want to thank you for coming today. You see, mi familia is having a very important fiesta today, because my family and I are moving into the big city very, very soon," Dora said. "We better go get packing, Dora. Don't want to have your family waiting for too long for the fiesta," Boots said as he made his way over towards the front door with a huge stupid grin on his face. "I'm coming, Boots," Dora exclaimed as she made her way over towards the front door and opened it, making her way inside of the house with her monkey friend. I simply groaned aloud when I started watching the thing. So far it was already 2 minutes in and I already felt like feeding myself to a pack of rabid ferrets. I wasn't expecting much else from this episode. Honestly, I should have thought this over a lot more before I started playing the damn thing. Once Boots and Dora made their way inside the house, it was shown that there was nothing in there, which is rather odd given how there weren't any boxes anywhere and apparently they were moving. However, Dora and Boots didn't really seem to mind this too much, and then began making their way into the kitchen, where, again, it was completely empty. Dora then approached the counter and asked her mother if she could find a couple of boxes for her room. I was thoroughly confused now, given the fact that Elena, Dora's mother, was nowhere to be seen near the kitchen, and yet Dora was just standing there talking to a spot that was vacant and empty like she was there. I was concerned, but Dora simply stood there, listening apparently, and then thanked her mother and then proceeded to go over towards a closet and start pulling out some cardboard boxes. Once they grabbed them, they immediately exit the kitchen, and then proceed to go up the stairs and into Dora's room. During their way there, Dora and Boots then proceeded to greet Cole, Dora's father, and Soledad, Dora's grandmother, who were also missing from the scene entirely. Honestly, at this point, I was starting to get a little weirded out from this episode. Apparently, in one way or another, Dora had gone fucking insane and was now starting to talk to absolutely nothing. Dora and Boots then proceeded to go into Dora's room, and then, after a little bit of a conundrum, asked the audience if they could help her get to the post office and the store, well, specifically the store, to go and get some tape and other groceries that were needed to help pack her things and supply some stuff for the fiesta. She waits her usual time and then answers with a "Great!" before asking, "Who do we ask for help when we don't know which way to go?" There's a short period of silence for a bit before Dora smiles and then answers, "That's right, the map," Dora said. Then in an instant, after Boots himself said, say map," the map itself popped out of the holster from the backpack, and then proceeded to sing his trademark "I'm the Map" song before going into the main details of where the two were supposed to go in this episode. I'll spare you the agonizing details about it, and simply say that it involved going into a dark forest, the troll bridge, and lastly, the store. Then, once the map proceeds to, as I call it, eat the whole screen, the scene then immediately faded back to show Dora and Boots making their way to each location, singing their "Where Are We Going" song in the process. Now, for the majority of this episode, it all goes out the same. Pretty much the same way you'd expect with any Dora episode. The two make their way into the place in question, they do a thing, and then they move on to the next spot. Nothing really that out of the ordinary, with the sole exception of one thing. Every place that she goes to, there's nobody there. No joke. Just like in the house, there was nobody there to greet her, or any voices, or even any of her friends showing up. Minus Dora and Boots, but that's about it. Even when Dora reacted in the way that she would normally would when dealing with a specific issue, like, say, the troll bridge, for example, there would be nobody there to answer back or sing any of the songs or whatever, despite the music playing in its place. This was especially freaky when it got to the point where Swiper was supposed to come in and try and take their things, if they even had any. Dora and Boots then said the same lines like they usually did, "Swiper no swiping," and, well, won, I guess. But like with everything else, there was no answer. There was no, "Oh man!" There was nothing. Just the same sound that it showed when Swiper ran off. This continued on for a good portion of the episode until finally having a change after Dora and Boots sing the We Did It song. Now, normally the show would cut after the little clicker mouse would click on Dora or Boots, but in this episode that didn't happen. In fact, once they land on the ground, Dora then starts making her way back to the same route that she had entered into with Boots. Only this time, she was alone. Boots wasn't there with her, and she seemed to look rather upset. This continues until she finally gets back home, only to find the entire place at night and her home in complete shambles, like it hadn't been used in years. She entered into the front room and then made her way up the stairs and into her bedroom, everything else looking about as old and dilapidated as it is. It's then that Dora starts to cry as she enters the bedroom, before making her way up to her bed, which, shockingly enough, was still intact, and said, "I had fun today. What was your favorite part of the trip?" Dora asked. There was no response, and the lack of response only seemed to make her sadder than she was. Then, without any warning, she plopped down under her bed and cried into her pillow, bawling like she had lost everything. The screen then slowly pans out of the house, and then out into the scene of the forest, before immediately panning out entirely to show nothing there but the forest and the house right dead center, before finally going all the way up to the moon, cutting to black, and then ending.